discussion? Let the record reflect that council confirmed that it's 10:09. We are on agenda item number 5, and the chair is asking, is there any other motion on the floor?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. Motion to approve a special use permit for Tractor Supply Company, case number SU 15-01, for outdoor storage and display of retail merchandise on approximately 7.58 acre parcel and located at the northwest corner of East Olison Road and North Cape Creek Road, with the addition of the following to the conditions of approval on Exhibit A, which is page 52 of 121, the council packet. Condition of approval number 5, increase the vegetated open space, including either landscape areas or undisturbed areas, by an aggregate of 2,400 square feet. Condition of approval number 6, replace the concrete sidewalk in the site plan with a decomposed granite trail along Cape Creek Road. And condition of approval number 7, the height of the perimeter wall at the back of the building shall be a minimum of 8 feet above grade.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Vice Mayor?
It's like making sausage. Nobody wants to see how it's done, but they're happy with the final product.
Thank you to the Vice Mayor for crafting that. It's good to have an attorney.
Anything else from council? All those in favor of this motion, please. Town manager, you all right?
I'm fine.
All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes very clearly have it. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for that. Nicely done. Agenda item number 6, council discussion and possible action regarding citizens' suggestion regarding potential options for an amendment to annexation/development agreements approved in 1997 regarding Morningstar Road, and/or ratification and joint agreements to that same annexation development agreement between the town and certain owners of real property. Vice Mayor, you asked for this to be put on the agenda. You can't really say a lot except you wanted it to come before council.
At the request of members of the public, I ask that this be placed on the agenda.
Okay, is there anything from staff? Legal?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, we are aware of the matters that have been requested of you in regard to extension. We would just like to tell you and ask you in regard to legal that there were several development agreements that were entered into in 1997. Everyone who was a party to those agreements or a successor to a party to those agreements would be required to sign any amendment. And at this time, we don't know what correlation, if any, there is between the request to extend it and the original signers or their successors. We would need to get that information before we could act on any extension. So as you discuss it, and should you wish to take any action, we would ask that you would keep that in mind, that there is some legal background that would have to be done. One, to ascertain the parties, then to actually draft a form of amendment, which is not before you. Be sure that all the necessary parties agree to that form of amendment, and then bring it to you for action.
Okay. Anything else from staff? Any questions of council or our legal counsel? Yes, Councilman McGuire.
In your opinion, does this bring any benefit, substantial benefit to the community?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, well, I can't speak for the members of the community. In terms of the town looking at the agreement, there were benefits to the town from the annexation agreement. We believe that those benefits accrued to the town at the time the annexation took place, and we did not see any additional benefits to the town from our understanding that would result from an extension of the agreement.
Thank you.
Councilman Durkin, question?
Thank you, yes. Ms. Bisman, I have a hypothetical, and it is a question. It may take a while to get to the question mark. It goes like this. Should the council pass what is before us tonight And then sometime after 2022, I think that's the end date for the present agreement, a private property owner come to the town and ask for an approval to put an all-weather passage over Cave Creek, specifically over one of the portions of Cave Creek that are presently prevented from having improvements put across them. And understand, this is after 2022, after the existing agreement expires. As presently written tonight, if the town were to enter into that, if the council were to pass this, the town, it's my understanding, the town would then be in a position of saying, per this extended agreement, I have agreed not to approve or be party to having an all-weather passage over the piece of Cave Creek in question. However, what we may take action tonight, and here's the question part, it wouldn't encumber the property owner to also be restricted from putting an all-weather road over the creek. And at that point, the question is now, it's highly likely, isn't it, that that property owner would sue the town because we wouldn't approve what he's legally allowed to do at that point on his own private property.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilor Durkin, members of the council, without the opportunity to analyze the relationship between those who signed, basically I agree with your analysis, and there certainly would be an opportunity for litigation if the town constrains itself in those ways long into the future in ways that a property owner might be able to act.
Thank you.
Additional questions of staff? Okay, town manager, nothing from staff on this?
Not at this time.
Okay, we'll go to public comment on agenda item number 6, Ms. Gary.
Janelle Smith here. Good evening, Mayor and Council. A petition is not a piece of paper. It's the voice of citizens speaking to their elected officials. And if any member of this council were to ask Area 96-1 residents which petition for an extension of the AA they would like approved, I can guarantee that the citizen voices would be for approval of a petition which extends the expiration date the furthest into the future. Yet we're here tonight to debate an extension of shorter duration. The two petitions have a few things in common. They are petitions. An extension of either one binds the successors in interest or their assigns to the full force and effect of the original agreement as well as for the length of any extension, and neither petition has the force of law, as enforcement of the AA is a matter of town policy and wholly dependent on the political will of every sitting council member. But it's the ratification and joinder which forces me to speak against approval of the 10-year extension, as it amends more than just the expiration date. It amends the 1997 AA's definition of property owner. The ratification and joinder applies exclusively to the 7 property owners who signed the ratification and joinder, and it changes the long-held reliance on the document formerly known as the 1997 Development Annexation Agreement between Town of Cave Creek and property owner, to reliance on a document which is not specifically referenced or identified in the ratification and joinder. Under Section B of the AA, the definition of property owner includes every owner of real property in Area 96-1, ensuring that AA rights attached to one property in Area 96-1 are attached to all properties in Area 96-1. This definition does not hold true under the ratification and joinder. In Section D of the ratification and joinder, the definition of the property owners entitled to the benefit of an extension is amended to include only those 7 property owners whose signatures are attached as an exhibit to the ratification and joinder. Section D states, it is the desire of the following real property owners in annexation area 96-1 to ratify, confirm, and join in the agreement and the amendment thereto. So not only does the ratification and joinder amend the AA's definition of property owner, its more limited definition of, quote, real property owners restricts the benefit of any extension to only those 7 property owners whose signatures are attached as an exhibit to the ratification and joinder. For whatever reason, the attorney who prepared the tenure document is asking that the extension be approved through a ratification and joinder process without the joinder making any formal reference to the original AA document as the document being amended. The original AA was approved by the 1997 Town Council using a resolution process. Use of the resolution process in reliance of a petition that seeks to extend the expiration date without amending any other provisions would provide a clean extension of the existing AA. Members of Town Council and residents of Area 96-1 who will review these documents in the future cannot depend on the town attorney's legal opinion for identifying the document being amended in the ratification and joinder, as the submitted legal opinion refers to documents titled Extension of the Morningstar Road Pre-Annexation Development Agreement and the Morningstar Road Development Agreement. When or even if these reference documents were ever approved by the town is unknown. The only amendment Area 96-1 residents want is an extension of the expiration date to the 1997 Development Annexation Agreement between Town of Cave Creek and property owners. While the formal name of the document being amended needs to be recited, none of the other legal mumbo-jumbo contained in the original AA needs to be re-examined, repeated, or included in an extension document, as all of the legally required wording and legal descriptions are already contained in the existing AA. And the entirety of the original AA is to remain unchanged and continue in full force and effect except for the new expiration date. What needs to be done to achieve the goal of approving a clean extension of the AA that all of us appear to want?
Bruce Arlen.
Thank you, Bruce Arlen, Morningstar. I don't know what you just said, actually. It seemed very convoluted. Frankly, this agenda item is very simple. It is asking to vote up or down this evening for a 10-year extension, period. Nothing changes, nothing at all changes other than the extension. I hope you all understand that somehow, some way. And by the way, whoever put the attorney's memorandum in the packet for this agenda item, thank you. I don't know who did it, but it was clear that, that we found out by reading it that the attorney or attorneys, our attorneys, believe that, and even the question that Mr. Birkin just asked, believe that this will harm the town. The question is, how? In what possible way would a 10-year extension, where nothing changes, everything remains the same? There's no crossing. People live their lives in a wonderful rural community, which is what this is all about, frankly. Cahaba Springs, I know this is a fact, and I think many of you here tonight know as a fact, that Cahaba Springs is attempting in 7 years to create an all-weather, probably a bridge, crossing over the creek. Is there a mystery here tonight? That's exactly what they want to do. They will attempt that. This is becoming very complicated tonight. I don't know why, guys. Please vote for this. I'm in favor of it, obviously. It's up or down, yes or no, tonight. The people in the area 96-1, the vast majority of the people, including the woman who just spoke tonight, including people who didn't sign the agreement, although most did, are in favor of it. People who are not even here tonight. Everybody is in favor of this. Somehow the attorneys, and no disrespect to you, is making this an unspecified scare tactic. What will happen? Oh my God. What could possibly, someone might sue the town. Really, well, that would be the first time, I think. if you pass this, you'll have breathing room from a developer who has made his intentions known. This town, I just want to say this one last thing. I'm sorry, I really don't on it, but I feel strongly about it. This town, if there is a crossing from the west to the east, over the creek, this town will be destroyed as we know it. Period. It will be destroyed. Morningstar will become a much wider road. Spur Cross will have to be widened. Horses will have difficulty traversing along that route. Fleming Springs, Schoolhouse, everything will be flooded with cars in both directions. Oh, and one last thing. Cahaba Springs was given approval for their, and I have no objection to that, by the way, to development. I have no objection to Cahaba Springs. They have an ingress and egress already approved out to the west. Why aren't they just settling for that? Please vote yes tonight. Thank you.
Terry Smith?
Terry Smith, Cave Creek resident. This gentleman just spoke that there's no benefit. I mean, it's going to be beneficial to the town. What about the residents that live in West Cave Creek? We are the ones that have been blocked. We were blocked because the town, as a rule, got some benefit originally. They entered into a 25-year agreement. That agreement was to keep any residents on the west side from coming over. We are talking as residents who live here now, who have lived here, who were living here when this agreement was made. We are the ones that were cut out. We have been cut out of Cloud Road. It came across, which formerly was New River Road. It was blocked off from us. We have to drive, if we're coming to the post office to pick up our mail, we drive 15 miles to come there. The residents, thank you. The residents on Morningstar would yell and scream like crazy if we came up with something that just simply blocked Spur Cross Road, so they would have to drive down Fleming Springs Road to get to the post office or to go into town, causing them maybe to drive an extra mile or less. We are been forced for all these years. We have waited this agreement out. Cahaba Springs has stated they have no intention to go on. We just don't want it to be blocked where we have no chance in the future to be able to access our town, which we are residents of. We were brought into this town. We have been told that we are part of this town. We have not had our water put in. We have been denied access by this agreement. An extension of another 10 years on this makes it another 18 years before there's even any chance of somebody else coming in or some road being connected where we can access our town. Now, we have put up with it. We know it exists. We can't do anything about it. But for the council today, or in any near future, at any time, to come along and say, we're going to block this access permanently, forever, basically, it is totally discriminating against one whole side of the town for the benefit of what? The possibility in the future that there might be a road come down there and there might be some more traffic come by. This gentleman said, Lake Cahaba Springs, yes, we get all of Cahaba Springs, that is done and said. But in the future, who knows what might come along where we might be able to have an access where we can come in. And to block it forever is, I don't know, what would you know, the wrong color? Something, because we have been cut off. Thank you. Vote no.
Hi, I'm Jim Welsh, 26th Street, West Side. Couple of random thoughts. I don't know why you'd want to tie your hands like that to not give yourself the opportunity. I'm looking at this as a good thing because it should begin to maybe promote some discussion about what eventually is going to be a big deal. I mean, are we going to do it or not? We're going to have a road that goes over there and give those of us who do live over there a reason to be in Cave Creek. why should we be in Cave Creek? You know? That's just my question, and I think a town that is not growing is a town that is probably dying, and any potential future growth for Cave Creek is to the west. A couple of ways of getting there. One of them's Morning Star, one of them's New River, and I think at some point, with all the commercial property that I think is in the long range master plan or general plan, I think you call that, would probably lend itself to a lot of retail and commercial business and more residents. So that's all. Just vote no.
Ms. Carey?
I don't have any other speakers.
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Jay Smith?
Jay Smith, this microphone doesn't work very well, by the way, because I couldn't hear anybody over there. But Jay Smith, 39416 North 28th Street. I've lived here since 1969. Been through the annexations. We wanted a rural residential town. We used to have New River Road come into town. It was only about 7 miles from my house. We just annexed, and we bought Spur Cross Ranch. I paid $1,000 a year just property tax on that thing at times. There was no trespassing to it for a couple of years. I got a little upset. We just traded value for zoning of 4,000 acres of Arizona state land, but we also got 4,000 more acres of residential land. And the future of that development of that land to be a part of Cave Creek is definitely attached to Morning Star Road or Cahaba Ranch or some access to town. The safety, the firemen should be up here screaming about safety issues about that many people. We have Burke Rocks, we have 4,000 more acres of residential land over there that we wanted for open space. We traded that. And what happened? I don't know about you guys. If you extend this agreement, it pitches off a lot of opportunity. And my access to town is pretty much shot for it sounded like 7 property owners in this annexation agreement and 96 people. Well, our valley has over 96 people in it right now, the West Cave Creek. And when you start adding up resorts, development and everything at 290 homes in Cahaba Springs, the town better think about that, because it's 20 years from now. We have to have development. I mean, and the safety of those people, the access from the fire department. It doesn't matter whether it's from Desert Hills or not, or rural metro. We need access. If you don't have access to land, Spur Cross Ranch, 4,000 acres of open space, it's worth nothing. It's just like over at Anthem, where they just built right up to the mountain. It's all open space. They traded it. Only the people with lots at border have access. It's crazy. How selfish can some people get? And I hope you vote no. Thank you.
Mr. Arlen, you already spoke. Mr. Lipsky, you had your hand up.
Sorry, I wasn't planning to speak on this, but it occurred to me that there's an election going on. I have no idea what you guys think about the issue, but maybe it makes sense to delay one council meeting. Win or lose, whoever winds up being up on the council, it seems like a pretty big deal, and maybe push one more council meeting before a decision is made. Just something to consider.
I believe the gentleman in the back. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Michael Cronin. My wife and I own two properties actually in Cave Creek. I was a petition signer. Although I think it'd be great to build like London Bridge going across Morningside and really market Cave Creek as a Lake Havasu type environment, my impression was it was about the creek and the riparian area. Certainly if we start talking about the resort capability and the 400 properties and the traffic, the horse trails along Spur Cross, will be affected. I describe as how you get to our property is you go to the end of the dirt road, the end of the paved road, and where it turns dirt, you turn left, and we're on Morningside right there, and just, the community is able to appreciate the riparian area of Cave Creek, and putting a London Bridge across it and marketing that way, I guess, is one way to do it in resorts, but it's not the town that we thought we'd move to, so I'm in favor of an extension into that riparian area and the character of the whole town, really. Thank you.
Mr. Lamar?
Steve Lamar, 5028 East Desert Hills Road. I guess I only have a couple comments. Let me first say, I don't know what the rush is about this. There's 8 years on this agreement. We're 8 years out from the termination of this agreement, so there's absolutely no rush. I think if I heard legal counsel correctly, she's raised a whole lot of issues about problems that may result as a result of extending this at this point. And let me say this, regardless of what you think about it personally, I'm not sure that a couple of citizens asking Mr. Trank on the eve of election to put this on the agenda is the way you should go about addressing an issue as important as this. The residents of the west side of this town have a point. They have a point. And there needs to be a resolution, and they need to be included in this town. They do drive a long way. And some of you recently have put up some signs out there. It's a long way just to get around here. And you wonder why they feel isolated, because in fact they are isolated. But what I'm suggesting to you is tonight's not the night to discuss, and there's no need to pick this night of all nights, your last night before the election, to try to resolve this in a hash, when it is a really a big issue that faces this town. And to just dismiss the west side of this community and say just tough toenails. We have friends on the east side that we happen to have gone to a rally 2 weeks ago. That's not right. So I would suggest, for all those reasons, that you not extend this tonight, because there's no reason to. At least no good reason for the benefit of the community. Thank you.
Public comment is still open? Yes.
It's Lisa Greenman on Morningstar, and I would like to say one thing is that I don't see any benefit in our town to divide ourselves, the west, the east. There's a lot of vitriol going on underneath, and I would like to say that we all know that part of what is going on with the annexation agreement is that it is the one thing that is sort of slowing down heavy growth, and I urge all of you that have not read the memorandum that was put into the packet from the attorneys. It does suggest that there'll be questions about whether you can have your horse trailer on your property, and it also suggests that Morningstar and Spur Cross should be 4-lane roads. And I think these are things that west, east, south, north, we all have to think about together. And the impetus for this, it wasn't something that just came up last minute. It's been going on for some time. The impetus for it was to just buy a little more time, to just be able to talk about this from all members of the town, and all members to be able to voice their opinion. So it was a buying time tactic, is what it was. But I would urge everybody to read the memorandum that was put into the packet from the attorneys, because I think that will give you an idea about, to make sure that it becomes known that we are the citizens of the town. It's not the town and then the rest of us. The town is made up of all of us. And that's what I'm saying.
Ms. Goodman, I wasn't clear, are you for this, or
I'm for it
are you
that,
neutral, or?
I'm for it in that I think that we need to buy some time still. I know it's only 7 years, but I would say that I think that we're all well aware that there's all sorts of factions that are still floating around, and it was an intent to just buy time.
Understood. Ms. Marcelo?
Anna Marcello. I was in the room in 1997. We used to hold the council meetings in a little tiny room. And I think everybody in this room has to understand, this annexation was tied to Spur Cross Ranch. We wouldn't have the Spur Cross Conservation Area if the council at the time had not done this agreement. And in order to bring the people in, they had to promise certain things. So the town got something and the residents got something. But I have the minutes from the meeting, and 2 comments that were made, I think apply today, may help you to make your decision. Councilman Payne stated the development agreement reflects the town's core value with regard to preservation of the desert and open space. The town attorney at the time, Frank Baggs, he agreed that the development agreement is the best tool available to accomplish the goal of comforting property owners within the annexation area. In order to get the people in that area to annex, in order to get Spur Cross Ranch, they made an agreement. Why shouldn't you continue the comforting of those residents who gave up so much? As far as the west side, Terry, with all respect to all of you, we all choose to live where we are, and you choose to take Carefree Highway to come in and out of town. The state, we have annexed all those hundreds of acres. A whole new town can develop on the west side. From 4,000 to 6,000 more residents because of the multifamily in the state land agreement with the annexation. So do we really want all of the potential of that traffic to be going through here? I think this agreement, you should not only give it 10 years, you should give it another 25 years. Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Alan Niss, I live on the west side. I'm a newcomer to this town, part not town, obviously. I totally disagree with her. The gentleman in the black hat, he was pretty spot on. You got 7 years. Your vote tonight is going to put a permanent divide on the west side and this side, just by tonight alone. So what is our reason to be in Cave Creek over there? After tonight, we're going to find out. So I think it would put the annexation risk, and town of Cave Creek benefit for it, or getting Spur Cross, but the town, our side, the west side, got nothing. They're still gonna get nothing. So your vote tonight is gonna put a permanent divide in the town of Cave Creek and that side. So if that's what you guys wanna do, that's what you wanna do. So I say vote no.
Yes, sir.
Gary Decker, a resident of Cave Creek, the west side. Again, I would echo what's been said here. There already is a real issue book that goes on between the west side and the city of Cave Creek. You go with the water issue. Doing this tonight would just, I think, put another nail at sort of speaking to the coffin of the relationship that the West Side has with the town of Cape Creek. It is a matter, we all want to consider ourselves residents of Cape Creek, but we can't be ignoring one large portion of the town by doing something like this, in addition to the water. It's another nail in the coffin in the relationship between us on the west side and the city, and the township of Cape Creek. I urge you to vote no tonight. Let's try to mend the relationship between the west side and the town, not drive wedges that are just going to separate us even more. Thank you.
Public comment is still open on this obviously very important agenda item. Jay, did you not speak?
Yeah, I've already spoke, but can I speak again?
You spoke so eloquently the first time that we Is anyone else who has not spoken? No, anyone else who has not spoken?
I'm John Martinez. I live on 3419 East Desert Hills Drive, and I agree with everything that Jay just said. Mr. Smith.
Kathy Smith, West Side. And we purchased our 20 acres back in, I think it was 1972. And at that time, we did have access. We had New River Road. And of course, we could even go through the valley. I don't even know what it's called, but it was, had real access. I mean, we were Cave Creek. I mean, that was when, I mean, I know as newcomers come in and they like to protect where they're at now. But basically, we love it. We want everybody to have a great time. But we have huge issues. What we're talking now, if you want to do another extension, there's no need for it now because you're talking to push it out 17 years from today. Is that what we're talking? If you're putting on another extension? I mean, it's not a critical issue, but we do have a critical issue where we are just, we're land bound. I mean, it's just like, we are sectioned in there where it takes me, like Terry said, I guess, 15 miles to go into Cave Creek. I don't care if it's to the gym, I don't care if it's to the post office, to my mailbox. It just bothers me every single time, even to come to my own town. And it does feel like we're very separated because we don't have the privileges and we have, I mean, to stand up for what is just right. And there is this sense of security and safety. If you have one road out, and that's what we're bound to, it's, our 24th Street to Carefree Highway to get us anywhere. And we're getting used to it, but not to extend it. And we need help. I please urge you just to have that consideration for us as the community.
Someone else will have their hand up or wish to speak. Does anyone else wish to speak? Okay. 14 of you have spoke this evening. Thank you. 8 of you are not for this. 5 of you are, and 1 has asked for a delay. What I will ask for is a motion so the council can begin discussion. Vice Mayor?
Motion to approve an amendment number 1 to an annexation development agreement between the town and certain real property owners located in annexation area 96-1.
Yeah, is there a second? I'll consider.
Councilman Spitzer, second. For a second here, I almost had to get my temperature taken because I found myself agreeing in part with Mr. Lamar. I want to start my comments by saying this, and forgive me if I'm a little bit verbose. What you're seeing play out in front of you this evening is a big example of the change in the dynamic of the leadership of this community, and you can spin it in any direction that you want, but it's a difference being proactive versus reactive. I had a group of citizens come to me and pepper me with requests to get this on the agenda for many months. And as the recall season progressed, the hysteria, probably from both camps, began to build this situation to a head, and there was a real, genuine fear, I think, from the 39 people who signed this, which I don't see them all in attendance this evening, but it's in the matter of public record, it's in the council packet. 39 households subscribed to an extension of this annexation agreement, and those are just the folks who it was presented to by their friends and neighbors. And the reason for that is they're worried that the security of their rural environment in their neighborhood is at risk 7 years from now. I agree. There is no urgency 7 years from now. I mean, why are we dealing with this tonight? The reason we're dealing with it tonight is because they're so scared that the toxicity that has been pumped into the veins of this community from folks who take issue with everything that this council does and seemingly would support selling the rural lifestyle down the river for their own personal interests could jeopardize the nature of their community, that they came out of the woodwork to put this out here tonight because they trust that this council will at least give them a fair shake. And that's all they were promised, is a fair shake. Nobody was promised that this was going to be passed. Quite frankly, I think is at the bare minimum, as legal counsel said, there are gaping holes in its enforceability. And before any such extension would be able to be passed or adopted, it really would need to probably start with the town and not start with the public. A petition may be more than just a piece of paper. It certainly does send a message, but it's also not a legally binding document. So for that's why we're here this evening. I mean, I got to point out, yeah, it's election season, and that's probably why there was such tension. As I mentioned, I think it created a lot of fear, a lot of angst amongst certain residents, and so they asked that it be on an agenda. But it's important to point out that we put it on an agenda. That comes after 2 terms of 2 former incumbent council people sitting on this council not putting forth a single agenda item, not at the request of the public, not because they came up with any on their own that they wanted to bring forward to help support the community. So it's important that we hear from the folks from the west side. And some of you I've met before. Mr. Smith, I know we talked about your water issue at the last budget meeting. I made a commitment then, and I'll say it again publicly tonight. You guys are part of the community, and you deserve to have those pipes activated. And we're not waiting until we see what happens at the Harbor Springs. I've been talking to David Britzhorn, and you'll see things on tonight's agenda from that budget meeting 8 weeks ago for road repairs and things of that nature. Unfortunately, we can't just snap our fingers and go repair the pipes. It's got to work its way through a process. There's got to be engineering studies. There's got to be due process. It's got to come before the council to approve the expenditure. What's going to happen? These are all things you've been waiting long enough. You've got the council that's going to work for you. And when Mr. Smith brought it to our attention, and when I talked with the utilities director, who said, "Look, this is ridiculous. We got the similar issues going up on Black Mountain. You're going to see I guess it's 2 agenda items from there. You're going to see we're going to be taking care of those pipes, which have sat in disrepair for a decade or more." So anyway, that all being said, I put the motion forward this evening for discussion purposes only. I'm not going to support it because I don't think it does anything for the community at the moment. Even if we did support it, it probably wouldn't be legally enforceable. That's not to tell you that I think there should be a vehicular cross connection across Morningstar to connect the east side and the west side of the community. But it's to tell you that your voices are heard by me, by this council. And so I just want to put that out there for you. That's my discussion. I mean, it's important that we recognize that there are people who live off of the Spur Cross corridor all the way up Morningstar Road who feel that their lifestyle is under attack to serve the interests of a developer who has probably the largest subdivision in the history of our town pending. And this is a reaction to that in this current political climate. And what better way to shine some light on it than to do so in this forum. So,
I have to agree with everything you said. A group of citizens came before us, asked us, some of us individually, to put something on the agenda. And we did, so that we can discuss this. We do want to hear what everybody in town wants to say. If the people on the west side have a petition that they need addressing by the town council, they should feel free, just like everybody else, to bring it forward. And at that point, then they'll be given a fair discussion from both sides of the benefits and the detractions of what that petition involves. There are more people besides the people on Morningstar that would be affected by a lot of traffic coming through that part of town. I've heard from numerous people up and down Spur Cross Road who are also worried about this. They weren't here tonight, but they do have a voice, and they should feel that they should have a position in town where they can come and address that. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all the ins and outs of whether it's enforceable, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing to be done because of law. There are a lot of people who think it's a good thing, and there are a lot of people who think it's a bad thing. I think we have 7 years to figure this out at the minimum. And that's what I have to say.
Councilman Durkin.
Gentlemen, usually I address you as regards issues we're considering, but if you'll excuse me, I think most of the interest in the room tonight is out there, and so I'm going to address my comments to the citizens. It was clear to me that there's a lot of passion on both sides of this issue, and passion isn't a good environment to use for solving problems. This is a really big problem. There are good arguments to be made on both sides. Certainly, and I think the elephant in the room is not you great folks that live on the west side, the handful of you that are here tonight, okay? It's the specter of one existing development and a couple of future developments creating literally hundreds of people wanting to come on into Phoenix from, into Cave Creek from the west side. This is a problem that needs to be solved, and because of the divisiveness, I think this problem needs to be solved by folks on both sides of the mountains getting together and coming up with a solution. Standing, throwing rocks at each other, that didn't work when we were in 6th grade, and it doesn't work now. As good as it felt to hit somebody with a rock, it didn't solve any problems. And I would like to offer myself as at least one of your council people. If you folks are willing to get together with a group of citizens from both sides of the issues, and let's attempt to come up with a solution to this problem, I will be at least one of the council people involved in that activity with you. Presently, as this is crafted, it will absolutely fail a day after the 7-year thing expires, because presently as crafted, it binds nobody except the town. And the town may well and good say to you citizens, we agree not to become party to putting something across one of the Cave Creek wash crossings, but that doesn't encumber the resident who happens to own that private property after the 7-year, after 2022. It in no way encumbers them. And so it's of no value to you or anybody else, okay, because the town won't be able to help you after that. And it's for that reason that I can't support this, okay, because it presents nothing but future legal problems for the town, and frankly adds no value at all to you folks, because the town will not be able to, after 7 years, prevent somebody from putting something on their private property because they were not a signatory they're certainly not going to be a signatory to this. Again, if you want to get together, you need to get together and solve this problem as a community. And I will do everything I can to be part of that solution for you.
Councilman McGuire?
I'll address my first remarks to the Vice Mayor. We're not here to discuss toxicity. We're not here to discuss an upcoming election. We're here to discuss a resolution that's been brought before us. You brought before us a resolution that you yourself don't believe in. I think that it's important to bring resolutions before this council that we do in fact endorse. If we want to discuss these issues, certainly we should discuss them with the public. These should be open to public discussion. But bringing them before the council, particularly for those justifications, I don't think is a good idea. I don't think this ever should have been brought before the people. We're talking about restricting the town, extending an agreement that has been honored on both sides, as indeed it should have been. But why are we considering something that only restricts the town after we've all fulfilled our part of an agreement?
Councilman Monachino? Let's not be debating, gentlemen. I'm not being debating. Councilman Monachino.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some legal concerns here, as the council has advised. There are a number of people, property owners, who are part of this annexation agreement who never signed anything. They were just merely swept in because 51% of the properties agreed to it. There are people who have purchased property after the agreement. And now if we come along and change it, now we've changed the rules, could be a taking, another can of worms. It is not clear to me if we need the majority of the signatures to change it, or we need all of the property owners to change it. There's just too many legal issues here for me to support it at this time.
Councilman Buck?
I'm probably going to offend some people, but that's what I do. 5,000 people live in Cave Creek. We're here to represent 5,000 people, not 39 homes. I would have supported this.
Councilman McGuire, just briefly addressing your comments. A, in making those comments, you did exactly that, which you sought to criticize me for. And B, this council dais is not a sterile environment. This is a proving ground for the solutions that move this community forward. And not every proposal that we bring before us is going to be camera ready. Proof in point. We made amendments to the special use permit issue earlier, the satisfaction of not only the project developer, but also the residents who are going to be impacted by its development. So I would encourage you, sir, to curb your comments going forward if you're really in favor of bringing this community together, because it's simply not productive.
Allowing for this matter, to me, should be taken forward into a workshop situation, and people, citizens, prepared to spend quite a bit of time discussing this. And since time seems to be of concern, there still is 7 years on this agreement. This agreement came about, and Ms. Marcella pointed it out, I was on council then. It was a component without which Spur Cross would not have come about. It was a deal we made with the citizens of Morningstar in order to get what we needed one step closer to preserving Spur Cross. So that's part of its history. The second part of the history is I live on New River Road. And there used to be an east-west access that went across the creek at New River Road until the great rains of 1993 came. And the wash got totally reconfigured into what it is today. In order to correct that problem at New River Road, I cannot imagine how many millions of dollars would be needed in order to rehook up the east and west side. As to the same thing on Morningstar, whatever structure would have to be built in order to ford the creek, I imagine would be an incredibly expensive operation. But what is clear to me is that the citizens of Morningstar, if it is not fear, it is certainly a sense of tension that time is running out, and should it run out, a lifestyle which you all value would be endangered. Equally potent and equally valid are citizens on the west side who since 1993 have lost their access into the community, and for a variety of other reasons have been cut off and have their own real tension. This phrase that I hear Terry Smith use, and Terry's a friend of mine, that stepchildren has been used for many, many years. And the citizens on the west side, you actually feel that. So that indicates to me that whether it is this council or previous councils, we have failed some way in resolving that, because that's not the way a community should be. So I am glad that this matter was put on the agenda. I didn't know how it was going to go, but the last thing that crossed my mind was the citizens from the west side were going to show up and weigh in on this issue. Although their issue is much deeper, it is as deep as the issue of you citizens on Morningstar that feel in peril. So the only way for me to begin a resolution of this, and again, you have time, we have time, is to do this in more of a workshop. We come together however long it takes. Obviously, Councilman Durkin has volunteered his time and energies to bring things together. And the last thing I want to say is this is resolvable. I don't want anyone leaving this chamber tonight, which is the community's chamber, feeling as those on Morningstar might, that your lifestyle is in danger, or that the citizens from the west side, that you have to go through yet another year of feeling isolated from the very community which values you, but which can't quite connect with you. To me, this is a golden moment. This is an opportunity, a moment that very seldom comes a council's way, because most of the agenda items that come up here, we vote one way or the other. And by the way, the agenda is set by the mayor. So if anyone has a problem with the agenda, you blame the mayor, not my fellow council people. I set the agenda. And this certainly had merit, completely apart from any other implications that are going on in this community right now, to be heard. So we are ready to vote on this, and I'm going to let council vote on this, and then for the next meeting in March, I will probably bring back something myself that sets up the framework of a workshop, so that everybody can sit down and invite everybody. I do mean everybody, west, east, north, south, and rise to the challenge and get this resolved. Carry the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Trent?
No.
Councilman Bunch?
No.
Councilman Montecchino?
No.
Councilman Durkin?
No.
Councilman McGuire?
No.
Councilman Spitzer?
No.
Mayor Francia?
I vote no. The motion is defeated, clearly defeated by unanimous vote. Before council moves on to the next agenda item, I would like to thank the citizens from Morningstar and from the west side for very eloquently stating your feelings about this. Do the council will proceed? Mr. Critchlow, agenda item number 7, council discussion and authorization of the expenditure of $102,167. And let us not forget the 56 cents to Cactus Asphalt to complete scheduled roadway repairs.
Mr. Prince, what do you have for us this evening?
Lighter topics. Okay, before you guys, tonight, we have the Cactus Asphalt. Basically, you guys are well aware of payment program. Follow the book. You've been following the book all year. And this is the last installment for this fiscal year for expenditures from an outside firm. The rest of the work remaining in the book for this year we're doing with our own forces. And so this wraps up everything. Expecting March, April, May timeframe, we'll be all done with everything for this fiscal year. We follow the plan with that.
Thank you. Questions from the council?
Do you remember the man who came in here and said his wife had fallen and hurt himself? It was Mr. Coffey, I think. Is his road on here?
This road is not part of this. We have that under a separate project. And we've received one engineering proposal for that roadway. We're seeking 2 more engineering proposals that I'll bring back to you with where the lowest person is at a future meeting, probably within about a month or so. And the next agenda item will sort of lead to that roadway project.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I can discuss that a little more.
Any other questions from council? Councilman Aquino.
I'm going to recuse myself here because one of these streets is, I live on that street. And rather than being accused in this recall environment of benefiting myself, I recuse myself.
I'm going to ask you then to please step out of the council chambers. What's the recusal procedure? Nothing personal, Councilman Aquino. Any other questions from council? I got a question for you, David. The book that you're referring to is the book that we contracted to have prepared for us by a third-party contractor, which is the alleged $80,000 that was spent on software, but actually on a survey of our road conditions.
Yeah, let me clarify that for you. That's true. This was done by Applied Pavement Technology, and we paid the consultant roughly close to $80,000 to prepare this document, which is a 5-year document. The software that we've heard so much about was free. We received it from the Army Corps of Engineers, and as you all know, as taxpaying citizens, government software is free.
And we've been using that sort of as a roadmap, no pun intended, to guide us through our capital improvements and maintenance of our existing roadways.
Exactly. This is the roadmap that my office uses, supplemented with the software to track our roadmap to know that we've been making progress.
And the roads that we see that we're approving these expenditures to impact East Coach Whip, East Rock Rose, East Quail Brush, North 46th Street, Desert Creek, North Fairway Trail, sorry, the copy's a little blurred, and East El Sendero are all listed in that book as high priorities, as in poor conditions and needing repair.
Yes, they're identified as part of our 2014, 2015 fiscal year expenditures to be done per the plan.
Great, thank you. Another question from council?
You say government software is free. Anybody tell Kathleen Sebelius that?
Oh, I didn't quite catch that.
Never mind.
I guess I do have one question. Did you tell me that we didn't spend $80,000 on software, David?
Correct. We did not spend $80,000 on software.
Thank you.
We'll make that clear to all companies.
Wow. Unbelievable. All right, well, call to the public is open. Carrie, do we have any speakers this evening on agenda item number 7-0. Anybody from the public wish to speak? Okay, well, we'll bring it back to council then. Councilman Bunch, you have a motion?
Yeah, I move to authorize expenditure of $103,167.56 to Cactus Asphalt to complete scheduled roadway repairs as indicated in the staff report.
Second.
Any discussion from council on this agenda?
We don't fix them, they'll fall apart.
I just want to thank you, Mr. Prince-Horn, for following the roads roadmap, if I may, and taking the politics out of road maintenance and repairs and doing it in order of priority.
I consider this part of being a road scholar.
He's learning from the best. Carrie, this is financial, the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Trent,
Yes.
Councilman Bunch.
Yes.
Councilman Montano. Oh, he's recused himself. Councilman Durkin,
Yes.
Councilman McGuire.
Yes.
Councilman Spitzer,
Yes.
and the mayor's absent, so we've got
By a vote of 5-0, the motion passes.
Take us someplace.
All right, turning now to agenda item number 8. Mr. Prince-Horn, we'll turn to you again.
Okay, as part of our ongoing efforts with capital improvements and repairing infrastructure, the next item on your list is a topic that we've had a lot of discussion about recently and during our council retreat, and that's water line replacement projects on the side of Black Mountain. These are scheduled to take place in the 5-year capital improvement program that was put together that you guys approved by Waterworks engineers. Roughly expenditures were budgeted in that improvement program of $150,000 per year. We're slightly over that for this particular project simply because of the number of lineal feet that we are attaching to this site. This particular project, according to my staff, will rectify approximately 50% of the leaks that our staff has to deal with on a day-to-day basis at this time. It's a significant project. It's important. The residents consider it important. And part of the water line work in here has to be done before we can actually do the paving on Tandem and Tally Hole. We want to rip up our roads and do the damage we need to do first. And then we'll come back with our pavement replacement and repair program for Tandem and Tally Hole roads. This was the question that we talked about a few minutes ago about the lady who fell down on the side of Tandem Road, I think, or Tally Hole up there. So we want to do this, then we can come back and we can do that pavement project to try to help the neighborhood up there.
But you,
Or neighborhood.
but you said put the pipes in before the pavement?
Right.
That's not the government way.
Must have got the signals crossed. So basically, what we have here is a 2-element portion. We actually buy the materials ourselves through our vendor at reduced rates, so we avoid a contracted markup on the materials. That's the first portion. And then the second portion is we stockpile the materials. They're available to the contractor. The contractor comes in and does the work for us. Local contractor has been around a while. We've used him before on various projects in this area. Maybe familiar with us.
Questions from the council?
This replaces the lines under the streets and on the town side of the meter, correct?
Correct.
There's no lines going to houses.
Correct.
Included in this.
Right. This is, we're responsible up to the right.
There's, in the plan, there's some talk about putting out stubs to various places that there may not be houses yet.
Correct. We do have lots that are unoccupied, vacant lots. As we put the water lines in, it's appropriate at this time, while we have a trench, to go ahead and install the corporation stop, which is actually threaded into the pipe, and the service tap and the meter box
knowing that it's easier to do this all as one project now than when a homeowner comes in, he's ready to set his meter, he'll be charged our development capacity charges, which we've already got a fixed schedule. You guys have adopted that already. And the box will be there. It's just easier for us working in the field to have that in place. They're ready to connect.
Okay. And just to make it clear, there's no charges, there won't be any charges to any houses that do exist because of this plan.
Correct. They've already paid their dues.
Thank you.
Councilman Marquino.
Are any of these lines contemplated for Stagecoach Pass?
These lines are farther to the north from Stagecoach Pass, so
Okay.
they don't have any connectivity to the Stagecoach Pass.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Call to the public. Carrie, any speakers for agenda item 8?
There are no speakers.
Back to a motion, Councilman Bush.
Yeah, let me do it. Move to authorize a total expenditure of $205,744.07, $34,057.89 to HD Supply for pipeline materials and incidentals, and $171,686.18 to Larson Excavating for installation services in order to make water line improvements on Victoria Drive, Surrey Drive, Tandem Drive, and Tallyho Drive.
Second.
I'm excited. I'm excited about getting 50% of the calls going away for the leak repair. Yeah, that's a big deal.
So is my staff.
Who had the second? Councilman Durkin?
Yeah, I guess. It sounds like there's gonna be a lot of support for this, but if there's any question in the gentleman's mind, I will tell you, I spent about an hour with the repair crew on Schoolhouse Road a couple Sundays ago, or whenever it was, they had that big leak. And they took the opportunity to, chat with me about it, and they said, we gotta get these water leaks under control so we can go out and do our job. So this is awesome. This is gonna take us a long way towards that.
Any other council comments?
Yes.
Councilman McGuire.
This is an ongoing issue. We knew when we bought the water company from Global that there were great questions about the integrity of the system. It needs to be fixed, and again, my congratulations to you and to your hardworking crew for keeping an eye on this and helping the town.
Any other comments? No? Well, then I'll go for it. It is, as we're all well aware, this is our last meeting before the vote for the recall. But it's very fitting that the last two agenda items were the last two things on the agenda, because as we just heard, it's the first time that we've had to make an outside expenditure in furtherance of our road maintenance plan. And we are now taking a major step to capital improvements to repair lines that the town has known about for over a decade and been unable or unwilling to correct. It is the culmination of 18 months worth of work, and it will set the stage for responsibly managing our utilities going forward. No matter what happens on the 10th, it has been my absolute honor and my privilege to work with these men who are on this dais here this evening. And I'm looking forward, hopefully we'll cast this vote and we'll set this town yet one step further in the right direction. Carry the roll, please.
Councilman Marquino?
Yes.
Councilman Durkin?
Yes.
Councilman McGuire?
Yes.
Councilman Spitzer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Trent?
Yes.
Councilman Bunch?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes. Okay, Carrie, I had a question. I wanted to be helpful to Mr. Smith, going back to the beginning of the meeting. With general plans, does the state put the timeline on the municipalities? I know that we have to do it every 10 years, I understand that.
That's all by state statute.
But then is there a timeline in which the municipality has to review and submit their general plan? Or do I have a
Yeah,
confusion?
I think maybe you're referring to the timeline based on the election backed out from the November date. So it has to go to the county within 4 months. So it would require council approval May, early June. which would require the planning commission to get through the next couple, 3 months.
Okay, Vice Mayor, when you get feisty, I don't know to scold you in public, but you deserve praise tonight. You did good work, and so did the rest of council. Motion to adjourn council.
So moved.
Thank you.
I need to be able to go there and go, I need a